Well, dear friends, we have reached the end of this very, very fruitful day, and I was briefed by my team, and they all coincide that it was a very rich discussion. And thanks to the excellent contributions from our speakers and your interventions, of course, it was extremely useful to hear about the progress being made towards greater operational and policy coherence and towards fostering a cross-pillar approach for effective peace building and sustaining peace. I would like to commend the Peacebuilding Commission for the work done to date. I think it has really made a big difference. You have also underscored the importance of conflict prevention to peace building and sustaining peace that cannot be overemphasized. But clearly, and I think that we all agree on that, more needs to be done, Mr. Chair, on securing solutions, on increasing coherence and coordination, and on enhancing national ownership with member states that have identified as an essential ingredient for success. Ownership. It's perhaps one of the key words of today. On the issue of financing, I really appreciate the frank exchanges we heard today. It is vital that we identify funding priorities and ways to support efforts in the field. This is an area where the General Assembly has a crucial role to play, including through the Fifth Committee. As I said this morning, we must make progress towards adequate, predictable, and sustained funding so that we can support truly effective peace building on the ground. Our discussions today also emphasize the importance of partnerships. We must use all tools at our disposal, including, of course, the Peacebuilding Fund, to enhance strategic engagement and to mobilize partners, regional and sub-regional organizations, international financial institutions, business and civil society, especially women and youth. They are crucial actors when it comes to fostering local ownership. They help to build confidence in peace agreements and to rebuild trust and social cohesion. This must be a good moment to offer my warm congratulations, and this is a very, very good, piece of news. And I repeat, warm congratulations to Lieutenant Commander Marcia Andrade Braga, who has just been named UN Military Gender Advocate of the Year, and I congratulate her. I understand that there is a ceremony where she will receive that award this coming Friday. So I'm very happy for her, and congratulations to Marcia Andrade Braga. She's a Brazilian naval officer currently serving as the military gender advisor to MINUSCA, and a fantastic example of why we urgently need more women in peacekeeping and in peace operations more broadly. Dear friends, Excellency, Mr. Chair, this was the first informal interactive dialogue between the General Assembly and Peacebuilding Commission, but of course it won't be the last. The need and desire for future dialogue as we head towards the 2020 review of the peacebuilding architecture has been loud and clear throughout the day. As co-chairs, we will circulate a summary of the key messages and issues from this dialogue, but we should consider institutionalizing this engagement between the General Assembly and the Peacebuilding Commission. Please also be reminded that in June, I will convene a formal plenary of the General Assembly on the Secretary-General's interim report on peacebuilding and sustaining peace. And just to end, I would like to sincerely thank you all, thank the speakers for their presentations, thank your participation and engagement, and thank you very much for your contributions on this first ever dialogue between the Peacebuilding Commission and the General Assembly. Thank you once again, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the support of the Secretariat as always. Let me just formally close by giving the floor to Your Excellency Guillermo Fernandez de Soto, chair of the Peacebuilding Commission. You have the floor, Excellency.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I'd like to begin by touching on your last comment, if I may. That is that, indeed, this was the first occasion on which we've held this interactive dialogue. But throughout the day, I've realized that it seemed almost as if we all knew each other and we were all understood the role of the General Assembly in an event of this nature. And at the same time, what has been done in terms of coherence by the Commission that I am pleased to chair. I think that the dialogue has been very timely and extremely productive. Personally, I've learnt a lot, and I'm sure that the members of the Commission have done likewise. I would like to underscore something that you and I said this morning when we opened this meeting, and which has been repeated throughout the day. That is the importance of national ownership as a basic foundation for the success of any initiative of the United Nations in the area of peace. Without national ownership, nothing's possible. If we go to any country to impose ideas or to impose programs, we'll end up down a dead end. Ownership, national ownership, have without doubt been a direction that the PBC has always followed and will continue to do so in the future. I would also like to thank the moderators and the panelists and all the representatives of countries for their interventions. I really do think that extraordinary efforts have been made to try to refer to all of the relevant issues. I think that nothing has gone unsaid, and we've also talked about the plan of activities that the members of the Commission adopted this year by consensus, and truly everything has been included in the reflections that have been made here. One of those activities in particular was being able to have this dialogue with you, President, as President of the General Assembly, particularly given the importance of this, that this grants to our work. Very briefly, I would like to note that, as you have already said, at the middle of this year, we will receive the SG's interim report, and this report will set out a very clear route for the path that should lead us to the reform of the system in 2020. So the second half of this year will be absolutely crucial to allow us to make headway in that direction. Now, just to try to summarize the themes, we could perhaps include in tweets 4 or 5 main themes. Consistency, coherence is a key word that's come up over and over again. Leadership, capacities, these are 2 other concepts. And we also heard this afternoon about the need to have adequate, sustainable funding and strong partnerships to support national governments, and particularly the people in the country. I believe that these discussions have made very clear the hinge role of the advice provided by the Commission. I think that what we have done on gender has been very timely, and what we have also discussed with the General Assembly, as well as this very profound discussion that we've had today with the General Assembly. This has demonstrated the importance that these roles play, and particularly the capacities of 2 of the mechanisms of the UN system and the way in which they can progress in such a crucial area for all of us. Finally, I'd just like to refer to what was said this afternoon. The work between the fund, that is the Peacebuilding Fund, and the Commission does, of course, help to a great extent. And I've been able to understand that in my own country, in Colombia. For example, when we begin the peace discussions, having support is of the utmost importance, and it is the very reason why the synergy between the fund and the Commission has to be stepped up day to day. For example, we heard about cases in Liberia and Papua New Guinea. Those were particularly highlighted, and they are successful examples of what we can do. We also heard thoughts about partnerships both within and outside the United Nations, links with regional organizations and sub-regional organizations. All of these are so important, and very frankly, I would say that they're also very sensitive. And we need to work in that direction, but at the same time seek other multilateral donors. Further, we should note the role that has been granted to us by our partnership with the World Bank and the African Union, which without doubt has been of the utmost importance. So that brings me to the end of my closing statement. I would like to conclude by thanking you, Madam President. And this was, of course, the first time, but it's just the beginning of an institutionalized dialogue that you have offered to us, and that on behalf of the Commission I'm pleased to accept. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the chair of the PBC. I really am very pleased at the outcome of today, and I would like to thank you very much for your contributions. It seems to me that the role of the panelists today has been very useful to allow us to understand at first hand the situation through case studies. I won't repeat what I was saying in my closing statement earlier. Once again, thank you very much. And with that, we conclude the informal interactive dialogue of the General Assembly and the Peacebuilding Commission on peace building and sustaining peace. This was the first of many to come. The meeting is adjourned.